Men, the most valuable skill in dating isn't reading between the lines of what she says. It's observing how she reacts to unplanned moments that reveal her authentic character before she has time to manage your perception. Before we dive in, hit subscribe, smash that like and hype button, and drop a comment if you've ever ignored red flag reactions on a first date, only to discover later that those instant reactions accurately predicted major character issues. Your experience might help another man trust his observations of unfiltered moments that reveal authentic personality. Reaction 1. How she treats service staff, the kindness authenticity test. When the server makes a mistake with the order, takes too long to bring drinks, or gets something wrong, observe her immediate reaction before she has time to remember you're watching and evaluating. Does she respond with patience and understanding, or does she show irritation, condescension, or rudeness towards someone who can't affect her social standing? This split-second reaction reveals her baseline treatment of people she perceives as beneath her or unable to benefit her. What this reveals? This reveals whether her kindness is authentic character trait or strategic behavior reserved for people who matter to her goals. Women with genuine good character treat everyone with basic respect and kindness, regardless of their position or ability to provide something in return. Women who are only kind strategically show their true nature when interacting with people they don't need to impress. Service staff, servers, retail workers, anyone they perceive as lower status. Notice the specific behaviors in her reaction. Does she make eye contact with servers and speak to them like people? Or does she treat them like furniture that should function properly? Does she say please and thank you automatically? Or does she issue demands? Does she acknowledge when staff does something well, or only notice when things go wrong? These micro-behaviors reveal ingrained patterns of how she views and treats people in general. Watch how she responds when service isn't perfect. If the server forgets something or makes an error, does she respond with reasonable patience? No problem. Could you bring that when you get a chance? Or with irritation and entitlement, heavy sighs, eye rolls, complaints about the service? Her response to minor imperfection reveals how she'll treat you when you inevitably make mistakes or fall short of her expectations. Pay attention to her tone of voice when speaking to service staff. Tone reveals attitude more than words. She might say, "Thank you," but if the tone is dismissive or condescending, the words are empty politeness. Genuine kindness sounds warm and acknowledges the person. Strategic politeness sounds mechanical and treats the interaction as transaction with minimal human recognition. Observe whether she acknowledges service staff as people or ignores their humanity. Does she respond if a server makes small talk, or does she give minimal acknowledgement, treating them as background? Does she notice when someone goes out of their way to provide good service, or does she treat excellent service as the minimum expected? Her awareness of and appreciation for service reveals whether she sees all people as deserving respect, or only those in her social sphere. Why this matters: how someone treats people who can't benefit them reveals their core character. If she's rude or dismissive to service staff while being charming to you, understand that the rudeness is her authentic character and the charm is her strategic behavior. When you're no longer someone she needs to impress, after she's secured the relationship, when you're having a rough time, when she's upset with you, you'll receive the treatment you're currently watching her give to people she doesn't think matter. Reaction 2. Her response to your boundaries. The respect indicator. When you express a preference or boundary during the date, whether it's declining alcohol because you're driving, choosing not to share something personal yet, or expressing that you're not comfortable with something she suggests, watch her immediate reaction. Does she accept your boundary without pressure, or does she push back with questioning, teasing, pressure, or making you feel difficult for having limits? This reaction reveals whether she respects autonomy or views boundaries as obstacles to what she wants. What this reveals whether she views you as an autonomous person deserving respect or as someone whose preferences should bend to her wants. Women with healthy character respect boundaries immediately, understanding that everyone has different comfort levels and limits. Women with problematic character view boundaries as rejections or challenges, responding with pressure to change your mind because they prioritize what they want over your comfort. Notice if she accepts your boundary or questions it. If you say, "I don't drink," and she responds, "Really? Why not? Just have one, it's fine." She's not accepting your clearly stated boundary. She's pressuring you to abandon it for her comfort or agenda. If she responds, "That's cool, what would you like instead?" She's respecting your autonomy without making it an issue. The difference reveals whether she respects your right to make choices about your own life and comfort. Watch whether she makes you feel bad for having boundaries. If expressing a limit results in her seeming disappointed, making comments about you being uptight or difficult, or creating awkwardness that pressures you to reconsider, she's using social discomfort as a tool to override your boundaries. Women who respect boundaries don't punish people for having them. They accept them as information about preferences and adjust accordingly. Pay attention to whether she tries different angles to get you to change your boundary. If direct pressure doesn't work, does she try reasoning, minimizing, or peer pressure? Everyone does it. It's not a big deal. You're missing out. These are all attempts to undermine your stated limit. Respect looks like immediate acceptance without attempting to talk you out of your own boundary. Observe if she respects your boundary, but holds it against you later. Some people seem to accept boundaries in the moment, but reference them later with resentment. "Since you don't drink, we can't do fun things," or "You're so cautious about everything." This delayed pushback reveals she didn't actually respect the boundary. She just waited to express her disapproval. True respect means accepting without ongoing commentary or resentment. Why this matters? Someone who doesn't respect small boundaries on a first date when she's supposedly on her best behavior will absolutely violate larger boundaries in a relationship when she's comfortable. If she pressures you about having a drink, she'll pressure you about bigger decisions. If she makes you feel bad for expressing limits, she'll use guilt and manipulation to get her way in the relationship. Boundary respect on first dates predicts boundary respect throughout the relationship. It either exists or it doesn't. Reaction 3. When plans change. Unexpectedly, the flexibility reality check. When something goes wrong with the planned date, the restaurant is closed, there's unexpected traffic, weather changes plans, or some other uncontrollable situation disrupts what you arranged. Observe her immediate reaction before she composes herself. Does she adapt with reasonable flexibility and good humor, or does she respond with frustration, blame, rigidity, or inability to handle deviation from expectations? This reaction reveals her capacity to handle life's inevitable unpredictability. What this reveals how she handles situations where things don't go according to plan, which is essential information because life rarely goes exactly as planned. Women with healthy emotional regulation can adapt to changed circumstances without falling apart or blaming. Women with poor emotional regulation or rigid expectations respond to deviation with disproportionate frustration, creating drama around normal unpredictability. Notice whether she treats unexpected changes as problems to solve together or as failures to blame you for. If plans change and she responds, "That's annoying, but what should we do instead?" she's treating it as shared situation to navigate. If she responds, "Why didn't you check if they were open?" or "I can't believe this happened," she's blaming and creating conflict over circumstances often beyond anyone's control. The difference reveals whether she's a partner in navigating life or someone who needs everything perfect and blames others when it's not. Watch her emotional response to minor disruption. If small changes create major frustration, anxiety, or mood shifts, she has poor emotional regulation that will create constant drama in a relationship. Life includes traffic, weather, closed restaurants, and countless small disruptions. If she can't handle these minor things gracefully, she definitely can't handle actual relationship challenges that require real flexibility and resilience. Pay attention to whether she can find positives in changed situations or only focuses on disappointment. If the restaurant is closed and she can say, "Well, let's find somewhere else. Maybe we'll discover something even better," she has healthy perspective. If she fixates on the disappointment and can't move past it to engage with alternatives, she has rigid expectations that make her difficult to build a life with because she can't roll with normal unpredictability. Observe if she punishes you emotionally for things outside your control. If her mood shifts negatively and she becomes distant or irritable because plans change through no one's fault, she's someone who will make you emotionally responsible for circumstances you can't control. This pattern creates relationships where you're constantly managing her emotions about life's normal ups and downs. Why this matters? Relationships require constant adaptation to changing circumstances. Job changes, family situations, health issues, financial shifts, countless unpredictable elements. If someone can't gracefully handle a restaurant being closed on a first date, they cannot handle the actual challenges that long-term relationships inevitably involve. Flexibility and emotional regulation in small moments predict capacity for larger challenges. Reaction 4. How she handles your different opinion. The disagreement test. When you express an opinion that differs from hers during conversation, whether about movies, politics, lifestyle choices, or any topic where you respectfully disagree, watch her immediate reaction. Does she engage with genuine curiosity about your perspective, or does she respond defensively, dismissively, or with the need to convince you that you're wrong? This reaction reveals whether she can handle difference and disagreement or needs everyone to validate her views. What this reveals? This reveals whether she has the maturity to respect different perspectives or views disagreement as threat or rejection. Women with secure character can hear different opinions without taking them personally. They're curious about different perspectives and can disagree without creating conflict. Women with insecure or rigid character respond to different opinions as challenges to their worldview that must be defeated or dismissed. Notice if she seems threatened by your different opinion. If you say you didn't like a movie she loved, and she responds as if you've personally attacked her taste, rather than just expressing your own experience, she takes disagreement personally. If she responds, "Oh, interesting. What didn't work for you?" she's curious about different perspectives. If she responds, "What? How could you not like it? It was amazing," she needs you to validate her opinion rather than have your own. Watch whether she tries to change your mind or respects that you see things differently. If every disagreement becomes a debate where she's trying to convince you that her perspective is right and yours is wrong, she can't tolerate difference. Healthy disagreement looks like, "I see it differently, but I understand your point," not, "But if you really think about it, you'll see I'm right." Pay attention to whether she can find value in your different perspective or only sees it as wrong. If you explain why you think something and she engages with your reasoning even if she disagrees, "I hadn't thought about it that way," she has intellectual flexibility. If she dismisses your reasoning without engaging, "That doesn't make sense," she can't respect thinking that differs from her own. Observe her emotional tone during disagreement. Does she stay friendly and curious, or does she become cold, defensive, or argumentative? If mild disagreement creates tension or emotional distance, she cannot handle the normal differences that exist between two people. Relationships require constant navigation of different preferences, opinions, and approaches. If she can't handle simple opinion differences on a first date, she definitely can't handle relationship disagreements. Why this matters. Someone who needs you to agree with them about everything, or who takes different opinions as personal attacks, will make relationship unbearable. You'll spend your life either pretending to agree to keep peace or dealing with constant conflict over normal differences. Healthy relationships include two people who respect each other's different perspectives and can disagree without it threatening the connection. Reaction 5. When she thinks you're not watching. The authenticity window. When she thinks you're not paying attention, you're in the restroom, talking to someone else briefly, looking at your phone, or momentarily distracted. Observe what you catch when you glance back. Does her expression and demeanor match what she presents when she knows you're watching, or does her face fall? Does she check her phone obsessively? Does she look bored or annoyed? Or does she behave completely differently? This unguarded moment reveals the gap between her authentic state and her performed presentation. What this reveals. This reveals whether the person you're experiencing on the date is authentic or performance. Women who are genuinely enjoying themselves and being authentic look relatively similar whether they think you're watching or not. Women who are performing for you show different faces when they think they're off camera. The mask drops and you see boredom, frustration, calculation, or disconnection that reveals the presentation isn't matching internal experience. Notice her facial expression when she thinks you're not looking. Is she naturally smiling or looking content? Or does her face shift to neutral or negative when she thinks she's not being observed? The difference between her guarded expression and unguarded expression reveals how much effort she's putting into managing your perception versus how she actually feels. Watch what she does with the free moment. Does she look around contentedly, people watch casually, or seem comfortable in her own presence? Or does she immediately grab her phone, looking anxious or bored without your active engagement? Someone who needs constant entertainment or validation shows poor capacity for comfortable presence, which predicts high maintenance in relationships. Pay attention to whether she seems relieved or relaxed when you're not watching versus tense when she knows you're observing. If there's visible relief when your attention is elsewhere, she's finding the date or the performance of being on a date stressful rather than enjoyable. That stress suggests she's not comfortable with you, or she's working hard to manage an impression rather than authentically connecting. Observe if she treats other people differently when she thinks you're not watching. If you step away and observe from distance how she behaves, is she pleasant to people around her, or does her demeanor shift to impatience or dismissiveness? Some people perform kindness when their date is watching, but reveal different character when they think they're unobserved. Why this matters. The person someone is when they think they're not being watched is closer to who they actually are than the person they present when consciously managing impression. If there's significant gap between her guarded presentation and unguarded moments, you're dating a performance rather than a person. Eventually, the performance becomes too exhausting to maintain, and you'll be in relationship with whoever she is in those unguarded moments. Reaction 6. Her response to your success or good news. The genuine happiness test. When you mention something positive about your life, a work accomplishment, personal achievement, something you're proud of or excited about, watch her immediate micro-expression and reaction before she composes her response. Does she show genuine pleasure and interest in your good news, or is there a flash of something else? Comparison, competition, diminishment, or forced enthusiasm that doesn't reach her eyes? This split-second reaction reveals whether she can genuinely celebrate your wins or views them as threats to her position. What this reveals. This reveals whether she has secure character that can celebrate others' success or insecure character that views others' achievements as commentary on her own worth. Women with healthy self-esteem genuinely enjoy their partner's successes and feel happy when good things happen for you. Women with competitive or insecure character struggle to celebrate your wins because they unconsciously experience them as making them look worse by comparison. Notice her immediate micro-expression before she composes her face. Genuine happiness shows an immediate smile that reaches the eyes. Forced enthusiasm shows in mouth smiling while eyes remain neutral or show something else. Surprise, evaluation, comparison. That split second before she remembers to respond appropriately reveals authentic emotional reaction to your good news. Watch whether she asks follow-up questions with real interest or changes the subject. If she's genuinely happy for you, she'll want to hear more details, understand what it means to you, celebrate with you. If she gives brief acknowledgement, then redirects conversation to herself or different topic, she's uncomfortable with focus remaining on your success. The ability to stay in your good news rather than redirect attention reveals security level. Pay attention to whether she matches your energy about your accomplishment or dampens it. If you share something you're excited about with enthusiasm and she responds with measured, low-energy acknowledgement, she's not matching your emotional state. Genuine celebration matches energy. Forced or uncomfortable responses dampen it. The gap between your enthusiasm and her response reveals her true feeling about your success. Observe if she finds ways to diminish or contextualize your achievement. That's great, but isn't that pretty standard for your field? Or, nice, I did something similar last year. These responses disguised as engagement are actually diminishment or competition. Secure people let wins be wins without needing to minimize them or compete with their own achievements. Why this matters? Relationships involve celebrating each other's victories and supporting each other's growth. If someone can't genuinely celebrate your successes from the very beginning, when they're supposedly trying to impress you, they definitely won't celebrate them in long-term relationship. You'll achieve things, and instead of having a partner who's genuinely proud and happy, you'll have someone who feels threatened, competitive, or resentful of your wins. That dynamic makes success feel lonely and creates resentment.